They say evil doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it paints on a smile. In the quiet suburbs of Norwood Park, Illinois, neighbors thought they knew him. John Wayne Gacy, contractor by day, party clown by night. A man of big laughs, bigger handshakes, and even bigger barbecues. He shook hands with politicians, took photos with children, and always had a joke ready to lighten the mood. But beneath the grease paint and charm was something far more sinister, a secret buried under the floorboards. In the winter of 1978, a teenage boy named Robert Peast disappeared after a shift at the local pharmacy. He told his mother he'd be home soon, just needed to talk to a man about a potential construction job. That man was John Gacy. When Robert never returned, the Peast family sounded the alarm, and for the first time, police started asking questions Gacy wasn't ready to answer. As the investigation intensified, officers noticed something off about him. Too cooperative, too calculated, and far too comfortable talking about teenage boys. They trailed him, subpoenaed records, interviewed former employees. Gacy shrugged it off like he always did. Political witch hunt, he muttered. They'll find nothing. But the cracks were forming. Then came the smell. Officers entered his home under a search warrant and noticed it immediately. A thick, foul stench, like rotting meat and sewage. He blamed a backed-up drain, but even that excuse couldn't mask what lay beneath. And when the crawl space was finally opened, hell opened with it. The crawl space beneath 8213 West Summerdale Avenue was narrow, damp, and suffocating. Detectives crouched with flashlights and shovels, their breaths visible in the cold air. And then they hit something soft, too soft, not dirt, flesh. One body, then two, then another. By the end of the night, authorities knew this wasn't just a missing person case, it was the discovery of a mass grave. Gacy was arrested the same evening. His smirk faltered for the first time in years. What followed was a confession unlike any in police history, cold, calculated, detailed. Gacy admitted to luring boys and young men to his home, some runaways, others employees or strangers he promised work. He'd handcuff them under the pretense of a magic trick. Once restrained, the mask would slip. He called it the rope trick. They never left alive. He buried them in the crawl space until there was no more room. Then he began dumping bodies into the Des Plaines River. Each victim had a name, a family, a future. Gacy had turned his home into a graveyard, hiding evil behind drywall and Christmas lights. News of the murders shocked the country. Neighbors wept on live television, reporters swarmed the house, and parents all over America began to look twice at every man who smiled too long at their son. How had he gotten away with it for so long? The truth was even more unsettling. Before the world knew him as a killer, John Wayne Gacy was a model citizen on paper. He ran a successful construction company, regularly hired teenagers, and volunteered as Pogo the Clown at children's hospitals. He even met First Lady Rosalind Carter in 1978, shaking her hand while wearing an official pin from the Secret Service. A photo captured the moment, the smile on his face sickening in hindsight. But Gacy had a history, a dark one. In 1968, he was convicted of sexually assaulting a teenage boy in Iowa. He served just 18 months of a 10-year sentence and was released early for good behavior. No one warned his new community in Illinois. And he knew how to game the system. He acted helpful with police, offered alibis, played the role of misunderstood local businessman. He donated to charities, took neighborhood kids to the movies, told jokes, hosted block parties. But there were whispers. Some employees quit suddenly, saying Gacy made them uncomfortable. Others noticed strange noises at night. A few saw young men go in but never come out. But nobody wanted to believe it. He was too normal, too nice, and perhaps that was his deadliest trick, making people doubt their instincts. When the trial began in 1980, the courtroom fell silent as the prosecution listed all 33 known victims. Each name echoed like a tombstone in the air. Gacy sat there indifferent. He claimed insanity, blamed an alternate personality. He said he couldn't remember the murders. He called himself the 34th victim. The jury didn't buy it. He was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to death. But even on death row, Gacy never stopped performing. He painted, he gave interviews, he told jokes. He still wore the clown smile, just without the makeup. 14 years passed, appeals filed, protests held, but justice moved forward. On May 10th, 1994, John Wayne Gacy was executed by lethal injection. He ate a final meal of fried chicken, shrimp, and strawberries. He cracked a joke to the guards. When asked for final words, he simply muttered, "Kiss my ass." But as the chemicals entered his veins and the laughter finally faded, a silence swept over the room. The monster was dead, but the nightmares he left behind still breathed in the minds of families, neighbors, and survivors. 33 victims were officially tied to Gacy, but investigators believed there could be more. Some were never identified, others never found. His house was demolished. A new home was built in its place, but those who lived nearby say the street never felt the same. Sometimes at night, they say they still see shadows by the fence line, hear the faint jingle of clown bells, smell something that doesn't belong. And they remember the truth. Evil doesn't always knock. Sometimes it shakes your hand and invites you to dinner. And sometimes it wears a red nose,